Next, we go to Steve Robertson.
Coach, you've got a lot more experience with snow than we do in the South. I mean, with the weather being what it may possibly be, is there a way to combat some of that? Is there a catching technique that you teach those guys on how to deal with snow?
You just relax, and these guys are all wearing gloves anyway, so I haven't found, it to be a big deal. You just go out and do it. I mean, the NFL does it all the time, so anytime our guys want to complain about cold weather, I just try to remind them what the weather is in Buffalo and Green Bay and Chicago and Minnesota and New England and the Giants, the Jets, the list goes on. Denver, Kansas City, Seattle, we can go on and on. But you just, you keep them warm with the warmers and then just relax and catch it.
Next, we'll go to Brian Haydad.
Coach, normally you have, a full month of planning and preparation and practice before a bowl game, or at least close to it. With everything being so condensed, how many practices are you actually going to be able to get in before the bowl game?
We're going to get about 4. It's not like the 20-some practices. We're going to get about 4. It's not the traditional bowl schedule where you can really work your young guys a lot. It's more like just a game week for a road game.
We will throw it back to Steve Robertson.
Yeah, Coach, there's been a lot of, shuffling, I guess, with these bowl opponents. But, you guys get, Tulsa, a lot of run, a lot of off-man coverage and stuff defensively. But, what have been your impressions of them, and how do you see them as stacking up as an opponent?
They're. I think they're a good opponent, and I think that they're gritty. Which I think, and I know several of the coaches over there, and those guys are gritty, fully committed football guys. I think their team kind of represents that. You just have an awful lot of guys in the right place at the right time, and I think that's a credit to their whole team because they've worked long and hard, and as a result, put together a good season.
We'll go back to Joel Coleman.
Mike, I assume you'll wait till after the bowl game for these kind of conversations, or you may already have some kind of an idea, but given the fact some of your seniors can return, do you kind of already know who's coming back and who's not for next season? Do you kind of already have in your mind an idea, or are there still some discussions to be had to kind of figure all that out?
I think it's mixed. I think it's mixed, and then also I think in some cases we're not going to know till after the bowl game or maybe even January. I think some of the guys are kind of thinking it through. It seems like, but some are coming back.
We'll go to Tyler Horka.
Mike, I know we've asked it quite a bit, but just having a little bit more time to reflect on it, what's it been like to think about what Will Rogers has done this year? I know you've been coaching for a long time, head coach for almost 20 years, and you've never started a true freshman. So for him to do what he's done in the 5 games he started, what does it mean to you?
Well, I think he's done a really good job. I mean, he's as far along as a true freshman as I've had. And, and part of it, I think that I've always thought coaches' kids, there's valuable information that passes across the dinner table along with the potatoes and the roast beef or whatever they're eating. And, guys that grow up with it seem to have kind of a little bit of depth to their knowledge and an understanding of studying film. I think that served him extremely well. And then also, just how to carry himself with a team in the huddle, that type of thing. And I think he's continued to grow in that regard.
We'll go back to Steve Robertson.
Coach, kind of following up on Joel's question there. You said that you knew some guys were coming back. Who were those guys?
Well, I don't feel good about revealing that, especially given the fact some of them might change their mind. But I think that it's the guys that probably don't have a lot of options. Um, you know, if they were to leave, some may want to, embark on their career, with as far as their major, that type of thing. But then, some are analyzing what their stock is as far as the NFL goes. And me personally, I think in all cases, their stock goes up if they stay another year. And I've always found the NFL kind of looks at it the same way. They're in no hurry to get guys. I mean, their basic position's kind of an obvious one, which is if you're good enough to play in that league, they'll eventually get you anyway. And then, if you're kind of on the bubble, the better you develop your skills and the better player you are coming out of college, the better your chances of, making a team in the NFL. And, by quality guys making the team, it elevates the quality of the NFL. So I've never found the NFL to be in any hurry to swoop these guys up. Occasionally there may be some, great player where somebody's got, first pick in the draft or something. They might want a guy to come out for that reason. But overall, I've never found them to really chase it very aggressively. I mean, they're not going to ignore talent and quality guys coming out, but then, time after time after time, a scout or an NFL guy will say he should have stayed another year. And because they're still there one way or the other.
Next, we'll go back to Joel Coleman.
Mike, I know we've heard you say a couple times, as pertaining to the bowl game in particular, football players want to play, and I'm sure, football coaches want to coach. It's been a long 6 months, though, I'm sure, getting tested 3 times a week and all that whole night. Is there any part of you or these guys that are kind of just ready to, I guess, have a break and kind of maybe start over fresh in the spring or next fall and kind of be back to normal, hopefully?
Probably a little of both, but it gets, you get into a rhythm coaching and playing these games. And this year we didn't have as many as you usually do. So I think we're definitely excited to play, no question about it. And then, of course, the season was set later than it usually is. But I know we're excited to play. We're excited to improve and really looking forward to the game. No question about that. And then, of course, I think we all plan to have a real productive off season in spring.
Next,
Like I've mentioned before, the distractions of this year. I mean, it wasn't, the football itself and playing football. I mean, that was the bright spot. That was the best thing that this season offered. All the joyless distractions, interruptions, and people hiding behind science that's constantly contradicting itself. I mean, that was the part that created elements that were about as joyless as they could possibly be.
Next, we'll go to Tyler Horka.
Got on here a little late, so I'm sorry if this has already been asked, but how does the roster numbers look? Are you guys, I mean, it's been a while now. Are you guys about as full strength as you've been in a while?
Yes, we are. More than we've been, at least as of today, more than we've been probably in a month and a half.
And then you also mentioned only having 4 true practices in preparation for Tulsa. I'm just curious about the logistics. What did last week look like? How often were you guys able to get on the field, or are all those starting today and this week?
No, they went home for Christmas. They've been home for the previous 6 days, previous to yesterday.
And then just one last one, kind of following up on that. What was the announcement for the bowl like last Sunday? Were you guys able to be all in the same spot and kind of share that moment together, or just kind of how did all that go down?
They'd heard about it on the internet or the social media before, and then we had the meeting, and and everybody was excited about the opportunity, to play, or at least appeared to me. Maybe somebody in there's not, but he'll get his stack of gear, and hopefully that'll make him happy. But nevertheless, the vast majority very enthusiastic, very excited to stay together and play another game.
And the last question tonight will go to Joel Coleman.
I was curious, with it being a New Year's Eve game, it's a pretty early game. Will you guys kind of get to stick around and I guess enjoy the evening, I guess, after the game, or will you all come straight home? I know bowl games typically allow you to enjoy some things, whether it be bowl gifts or whatever, and be an event. I didn't know if it would be just play the game and come home, or if you guys might get to enjoy things a little bit on that day.
Schedules vary quite a bit. I mean, the majority are flying home right after the game, and or since it's early and all that, or they're flying back after the game, and then they're free until we start school again. I'm staying in Fort Worth after the game, and then it varies, depends, where people's families are and stuff like that. I guess this is kind of where they're doing their holiday cases.
Great. Thanks, Coach. We appreciate the time.